2, 1, we're on.
Whether you're an ocean lover or not, I'm pretty sure you've heard about whales. These amazing creatures are huge mammals that swim around the oceans in search of food and nursery areas. The southern right whales are very common here in New Zealand waters because of whaling back in the days. There are estimated studies that show that the populations went from 30,000 to 40 approximately. So the rest will be told by Dr. Emma Carroll, who is a specialist in whales. She's a molecular ecologist. She will answer us a few questions regarding these amazing creatures. Emma, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I would like to start with the first general questions. Why are whales so important for healthy marine ecosystems?
We scientists consider whales to be ecosystem engineers. That means that their presence in a particular area actually has a positive influence on the whole ecosystem. So, every other breath that we take is actually a result of what we call phytoplankton. And that's because the little plants in the marine ecosystems that form the kind of very basis level of the ecosystems, they produce the oxygen in our air. And it might seem like a lot, every other breath, but when you realise that Earth is about 70% water, it makes sense, that's where a lot of our oxygen comes from.
Yes.
What happens in areas like the Southern Ocean is there's lots of different nutrients in the water, but what it's missing is iron. So the element iron is kind of a limiting factor on that phytoplankton growth. And what whales do is they actually start moving nutrients from different areas in the world, and then they bring it, different depths or different areas, and then they'll bring these nutrients into that part of the ocean, the top layers of the ocean where those phytoplankton are. Then they move it basically by eating it, and then they poop it in the top layers of the ocean. The phytoplankton can then get it, so they can get iron in the Southern Ocean. In other parts of the world it might be nitrogen or phosphorus that limits phytoplankton growth. And so the more the whales poop, the more the phytoplankton grows, the more other levels of the ecosystem are then able to grow as well. Increasing populations of whales actually mean that the ecosystems become more productive and can sustain more life. So they're pretty neat animals, and a recent report by the International Monetary Fund actually valued whales at about $2 million each, $2 million each. $2
million. There we go.
And that's not just because of their roles in increasing the productivity, because you can imagine as those phytoplankton bloom, they're using carbon dioxide from the air to grow, but whales can actually store about 33 tons of carbon in their bodies over their lifetimes. And when those animals die, most of them sink to the bottom of the ocean, and that's essentially sequestering or removing that carbon from the environment in a way. So, they're increasing the productivity, they directly and indirectly remove carbon from the environment. So they're important in terms of ecosystem health, but also in climate change mitigation.
Whales are so important for healthy marine ecosystems. How could they contribute to a better understanding of future scenarios of climate change?
So we're co-leading an initiative called the Southern Ocean Research Partnership theme on southern right whales. So a researcher from the University of Pretoria, Els Vermeulen, and I are coordinating work. So there's lots of amazing researchers who study southern right whales around the world. And one of the key things about southern right whales is their recovery depends on healthy oceans. Right? These animals will have one baby every 3 years on average. Those babies are huge. They're born 4 or 5 meters long. They grow about a meter a month.
A month?
And that first few months of life, mum loses 25% of her body volume. So she has to get very fat in order to support herself and her calf through winter, and that growing in her calf, uses a lot of that fat.
Wow.
So what we've seen in South Africa and Australia and some parts of South America is southern rights are having calves every 4 or 5 years now instead of every 3.
Oh.
So we think that they're not getting enough food, which is delaying the kind of those calving events. And what we found in South Africa, so working with Els and our master student Gideon Vandenberg, the last 5 years, we've found that the whales have shifted where they're feeding a lot further north, and they're eating probably more diverse prey, so copepods and krill, compared to they were in the 1990s.
That was only krill?
Pretty much only krill in the 1990s.
Okay.
That's what the isotope data, that kind of map showed us.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they're changing up what they do, but it's actually resulting in poorer outcomes for their population. So that changing food is correlated with less frequent babies and probably a slowdown in the population recovery rate. Okay. And what we think, it's hard, what we hypothesize is happening is the krill are actually decreasing in abundance and they're moving further south. And so perhaps the right whales aren't getting enough food, and so they're trying different strategies to find where else they could eat. Okay. So it's positive in that the whales are trying to do new things, but it doesn't seem to be working yet.
What does a molecular ecologist, or we can also say, what do you do as a scientist?
So I trained in genetics at University of Auckland. So we basically use genetics or other molecular tools to study natural populations. Okay. So it's just using DNA, and these tools can be used in a lot of different ways. So we can do genetic monitoring of a population, which is what a lot of my work focuses on. So we're able to take small skin biopsy samples from living whales, where we use a remote biopsy system that it fires a dart. The tip of the dart hits the whale and pulls out a plug of skin about the same size as their fingernail. Oh wow. And so that little bit of skin will give you DNA, which will tell you who that whale is, who they're related to. We can now use what are called epigenetics, which are accents on that DNA pattern. So it's kind of like the formatting of a book. And that formatting can actually tell us the age of a whale. Oh, wow. And if we get a little bit of blubber or fat, we can start looking at hormones. So you can give the whales a pregnancy test, or you can measure their testosterone and see how mature they are. So we can get a huge amount of information just from that one little biopsy sample. Which is really useful, because otherwise whales are very difficult to study. Most of the time that is spent offshore, far away, and so if we're able to collect information when they do come close to shore in those coastal wintering grounds, it tells us a lot about their life history.
How does DNA studies and genomics contribute to a better understanding of southern right whales, or whales in general?
Well, genetics and genomics are an increasingly powerful way to study how animals interact with their environment and also monitor their populations. So if we zoom out and we think about southern right whales, there are different wintering grounds in South Africa, Brazil, Argentina, Australia and New Zealand. These wintering grounds are kind of managed separately, and we've looked at how connected they are using genetics. And that helps inform how we manage the species across the Southern Ocean. Okay. And so that's kind of the bigger perspective, and we've done some work showing that the different wintering grounds have genetic differentiation, or particularly the nursery areas, because females come back to the same area to calve every few years. If we narrow down on one population, the Auckland Islands, the Mongahuka population is where I've done most of my work. We are really interested to know, how many whales there are. Is the population growing? And most of the way that we do this as ecologists in general is we track these populations through time. Okay. So we will identify individuals using photographs of natural markings. So, bottlenose dolphins, they use the trailing fin, the Nixon scratches on their fin. For whale sharks, it's the spots on the body. Yes. We can also use genetics, because every individual will have a unique genetic profile. It's kind of like whale CSI.
Indeed, CSI, CMSI for whales, yes. Yeah.
So we essentially go down there and we take one of those small biopsy samples, and we're able to identify their unique profile. We're also able to identify if they're male or female. Yes. And we're working on a way of working on that epigenetic aging assay as well, so that we can also estimate their age. Okay. And so we have, the University of Auckland started this genetic monitoring program back in 1995. Wow. And so we've got 25 years worth of data on New Zealand right whales, which is Tohara no Aotearoa, which is one of the longest running studies in the world. And the benefit of being able to tell who's male and who's female. Females are more likely to come back when they're with a calf. And so if you know who's female, then you can see those behaviours through time.
Yeah.
Whereas with males, they do show fidelity to wintering grounds, but not as much as females.
Okay.
So those behaviours change how we model their abundance. And being able to tell who's a male and who's a female is really useful.
Okay, wow.
But there's a really cool new method called close kin. And it's a new approach to estimating abundance and population growth rate. So as I said, most of these kinds of studies, whether it's with photo ID or genetics, you need decades-long data sets from these long-lived animals like elephants and right whales to be able to tell if these populations are increasing or decreasing through time. Because you really need those individual, what we call capture histories.
Yes.
So where we've seen those animals across time. But the problem is, maybe you've got a population where you don't have this long data set, or maybe the population is changing quickly and you need to know more about it now.
Yes.
So, or you just, it might be hard or costly to do this work. So essentially, we're trying to show that this new method is going to work well with right whales, as an example of it being applied to whales. And the basic idea is that every individual has two parents.
Yes.
And the rate at which you recapture those parents tells you how big that adult population size is. So for example, if you go to a small wedding, say 20 people,
yes.
When you sit down for dinner, the people, there's probably a high chance that the two people you sit next to are related. Because weddings are often people who are related. But if you go to a big wedding, say 200 people, you're less likely to sit next to people who are related.
Yes.
And it's the same with populations. So if the adult population is smaller, then you'll probably find those parents quicker.
Yeah.
And the way that we identify who's a parent and who parent-offspring pairs is using genomics.
Okay.
And if we have a way of estimating age, then you know who's the parent and you know who's the offspring.
Wow. A part of being an active researcher and, Emma, I guess, and you are also part of the team of Live Ocean, or you contribute with knowledge at Live Ocean. Could you explain us what do you actually do within that organization, the NGO?
Yeah, so Live Ocean was founded by Pete Burling and Blair Tuke, and its goal is to move ocean conservation forward in New Zealand. We have some of the most amazing marine spaces in the world, but we're not living up to our commitments to preserve it. And so they have got behind our southern right whale or tohara research and are kind of amplifying and supporting the work.
Okay.
So it's been amazing to be affiliated with Live Ocean.
Yes.
And they're one of the reasons we actually have a second field season next year.
Oh, that's very good. How can the general public or society, whether they're Kiwis or travelers that come into New Zealand in the future, I guess, contribute to the conservation of the southern right whales?
Right. So there's quite a direct way. Every winter, southern right whales from the Auckland Islands, which is where their main breeding ground and nursery ground, and also Campbell Island, which is a socialising area, they may also visit mainland New Zealand. Okay. But coast of New Zealand is huge. Yes. I can't zip around and be everywhere. Yeah. So what the public can do is, if you see a whale, a southern right whale in particular, call DOC. There's a DOC hot phone line where you can call up, you can let them know what you saw and where. Ideally, to take a photo, but remember to stay 50 metres away.
Yes.
Or 200 metres if the whale has a calf. Yes. And if you can't get a photo, that's fine. You can let DOC know, and hopefully they can go and get closer and get a photo as well. So that's really important, because it's these opportunistic sightings that help us understand how southern right whales or tohara are recovering around the North and South Islands of New Zealand.
Wow. So Emma, this would be the last question, just so that people can understand what an active researcher goes through every day. What is the favorite part of your work? And if you have to choose one, and what's probably the less favorite or worst part?
So I am incredibly lucky because I get to do field work, which I love. So I've been lucky enough to go to the Auckland Islands, South Georgia, Canary Islands to do work, and I love travelling and I love meeting new people and meeting new whales.
Yes.
But I also really like analysis. I really like getting my hands on the data, crunching it, and kind of turning it around, trying to figure out what's going on. I really like problem solving. So those would definitely be my favourite bits.
Okay.
I really like the fieldwork and I love the analysis. Definitely administration is not my favourite.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. So, well, Emma, thank you very much for your time. I would like to ask if some of the viewers could follow your work, or if they could read a little bit more of what you, Auckland University, Live Ocean, etc., sort of is doing, or where they can follow you if you're on social media. And please feel free to tell us.
Yes, I'm on Twitter at Carroll, EMZLCARROLL.
I'll write it down on the
it's
subtitles.
Not the easiest one.
No worries.
And I've got a blog on my website, so whalednalab.ac.nz, I think.
Whale DNA Lab. I'll also write it down.
Maybe we could edit this down.
Yeah, not a problem.
And we have a Facebook group for the South Georgia project as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. This is interview number 7 with Dr. Emma Carroll, and I wish you all a good afternoon or good morning or whatever you're in the world. See ya.